camera shake. Let's watch these videos real fast. Now, we made a video recently about adding an explosion to a video clip, and the video, or it was actually a still image, was completely locked down. And as you just saw, adding a little bit of camera shake helps give it a lot more realism. So you can do this yourself. All you really got to do is go into track motion. And so what you do is you go onto your video track and you click right there and you go into track motion. First thing you've got to do is you've got to actually crop in a little bit, and you do that by clicking in the corner and look at your size, 1920 by 1080. So what you want to do is pull out a little bit until your width is closer to 2000, and that should cover you. Then you go here and make sure you're on the first keyframe, which we are, and we want to copy that width and height to the end. So we go paste, and now that will lock in our width and height of our frame. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go in and start adding some keyframes, and this is a completely 100% random process. So we're just going to play around. The key thing that we're going to do is we're not going to use very high values. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in some random keyframes, and then we're going to see how we like it and just keep adjusting until we get it to how we like it. So you don't need to put keyframes every frame. It's more like every 5 or 6 frames you're putting a keyframe. So we're going to move here, and then we're going to click on the work area, and then just using our arrow keys on the keyboard, I'm just going to click up, and that's 5. Now I'm going to set another keyframe, and now I'm going to click on the work area and click down. Then I'm going to set for another keyframe, clicking on the timeline, click on the work area, then click on the keyboard arrow and go to 4.78. You can see I'm trying to imagine what it would be like with camera shake. So, you know, if you pushed up, you'd probably want to bring it down, and if you went to the left, you want to bring it to the right. And so you'd figured what's causing a shaky camera is the operator trying to compensate for the direction that he thinks he's going. But his movements could be fast, they could be slow, they could be anything really. And that's the randomness of the shake. But the key thing is that it's really subtle and it's not extreme. So I'm trying to keep all my values between, I don't know, 7 and -7 and 3 and -3. But what's really guiding me is by just watching the video back. So now I'm going to go back and watch the video again and see how I like it. So I think we're getting there, but with just a few more tweaks. And again, there's no right and wrong in all this. So let's go back into the motion tracking and play around with some of these values. Maybe we can move it a little bit to the right. We'll come in here, and here I'm just punching in values versus using the arrow keys. It's just a little more, it gives me a little bit more control. Now I like what we've got so far. I'm going to go in now and right click and change the speed on some of these transitions. So if I hold shift, I can change the speed of several keyframes at one time. And again, I'm doing this absolutely randomly. There's no pattern, and that's the key thing. So what we're going to do is let's go back and take a look at this and see how it looks. Actually, that's looking pretty good. So maybe just do a little bit more, some of these values, maybe a little bit more to the side, to the left and right would be good. So I'll add just a little bit more of that to compensate for against the up and down motion. So let me take another look. Actually, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I never thought I'd be complimenting myself on shaking the camera. So now if I right click on the first frame and hold shift, and we can copy all those keyframes together. And here you could just randomly go in and just delete a frame here and a frame there and change the speed. It honestly doesn't matter. It's just literally just playing around with it to see what you can come up with. So now let's take another look at it. Yeah, so that's starting to look pretty good. So maybe I'll just back off a little bit on some of that up and down movement. And again, I think that's the key element to making the shake look good, is that these aren't extreme values. These are actually more between -5 and 5, -3 and 3, and that's on the y-axis. And the 2-axis is kind of restrict. Now that's actually very good right there. That's very subtle camera movement. So it looks like anywhere between -3 and 3 and -2 and 2 on the x-axis is good. So now I'm just going to drag this out and try to get a longer look at it. See, make sure I like what it's doing. And actually, I think that's very believable camera shake. It's just subtle. It's not extreme, but you can see it and feel it. So that's really good. So now if you want to keep these keyframes, what you do is you just trim these down to where they're not in the way of any keyframes till the clips are almost virtually gone, and then delete them. And that will allow you to keep these keyframes. And so what you do is you go save as a veg file. So I would just save it as camera shake, and then when you want to add shake to your camera, you just would bring the clips in and put them on this track, import them into this veg file, and then you'd have your camera shake effect, which is pretty great. Now I have these veg files available for you. What I've worked on and shown you in this tutorial, I'll add another one since I did the one that I'll have 2 available for you. You can come to the website and download those, and those are absolutely free, and you can play around with those, and that can give you a starting point if that's what you like to do. And so once you've downloaded these from our website, you can let me close out of this file. You would just go open and navigate to that veg file that you've downloaded. Let's say it's right there, the camera shake, and you would just open the veg file, and those are the motion tracking points for the shake, and you would just go ahead and import your clip and put it on that track. And so I hope you found this helpful. This is another subtle way of adding realism to your visual effects shots.